Here are all your control panel settings to get you started on the ButterFly 1502. The first step we're going to do is how to load a design from your USB to the memory of the machine. You're going to go ahead and go to the memory button, which is this very first one right here on the left. And you're going to go down to number 3. Select disk design into memory, hit enter, and select the file that you want to use and transfer to the memory of the machine. So I'm going to go ahead and select this one, which is G005. It's the tiger, and you will see this picture on the right screen. Go ahead and hit enter. And just hit enter through all the settings to set, and it will set the design to your memory. If you want to select an additional design, you can go ahead and select another one and do this process again, but for this moment I will go ahead and escape. I will go up to embroidery design, enter, and as you can see it is on memory number 2. So I'll go ahead and select it, I'll hit enter, and then I will hit escape. Basically these are going to be all your parameters for the design, the direction, the X and Y scales. Most of this you're just going to want to keep it the way it is for now. Escape. It will return you back to the home page. And if you can see, it will say right here design name G005, so we know that it's been set up. And the next step would be to select the colors that we want to use for this design. So we will do our colored selection, and that will be the button with the 3 needles. And we will go ahead and select input color line, that's number 1. Go ahead and hit enter. And the machine will recognize how many colors the design has. For this instance, this design has 4 colors, so you will see that there will be a red square on the 4th color, basically telling you that the design only has 4 colors. So once we get to this point, we know what colors we need to select. So I'm going to go ahead and select my first color is on number 15. And it's red. So I'm going to go ahead and press 10 plus, and that is if you got to have double-digit numbers. That's for 10 and up. So I'm going to go ahead and do 10 plus and then 5, and it will do the 15. My next color would be orange, and I have that currently on 14. So I'm going to go ahead and do plus 10 and 4. My third color is going to be white. That's on number 3. And my last color is on number 7. I'm going to go ahead and hit 7. Once you've selected your colors, go ahead and hit enter and escape to go back to your home page. If you notice down here we have the second square, which is an A with 2 needles, an arrow going to the right and an arrow going up and down. That represents your automatic color change. So that basically represents that the machine will automatically color change after every trim and go through the design non-stop. There is also a manual option for that, an automatic where it will color change but it will not start running after the color change. And then there's manual where it'll only run on the needle that you're currently running on. Most of the time you're going to use the automatic. There's also what we call the float mode or in the running mode, and that's going to be this 3rd box. So currently this represents, the green represents that the needle is going to move up and down and it's going to run in its normal pace. If you want to float it fast, that's basically floating means you're going to move the design on the screen to reach a certain point where maybe you missed a spot or something. If you press it again, it'll be in yellow, and that'll actually move forward stitch by stitch only on the screen. It will not run on the machine. And green represents that the needle will actually run. So you usually want to keep these 2 in green. You also have the rotation or the direction of the design. You will have a button down here with the letter P. and you can rotate your design in any direction that you want, and you can also mirror it in any direction that you want. Currently I'm going to have it in the normal status and just leave that for now. So after we selected our colors like we did earlier, you can go ahead and move the frame, and what you need to do is make sure that you center your needle number 1. If you look up here on the top left, it will show a needle and it'll show a number right next to the needle. If you're on needle number 5, it'll say 5 on there. Just remember that when you start a new design, you always want to start with needle number 1. So make sure you look up here on the left. If it's on another number, just press 1. That way you can center your hoop with the frame. You can move your frame up and down, left and right, and you also have a frame speed button, and that is to slow down your frame. So just center your hoop, and let me just show you what I'm doing. I'm going to move the hoop, I'm going to move the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. I'm moving it, and I also have my red laser centered, and I'm just centering my hoop. After we center our hoop, the next step is to do a trace or an outline of the design inside your hoop to make sure that your needle stays inside, and just to make sure that you don't hit any edges on the hoop, and also to make sure that your design is centered. For that step, you're going to go ahead and press this button with the little pointing hand or pointing finger, and you're going to go down to number 3, which is design border operation. Hit enter. Then you're going to go down to move the frame along the boundary of a design. Hit enter, and it will ask you confirm move belong border of design. So once you hit enter here, once I hit enter here, it will do the trace. So I'm going to go ahead and move back down, and I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and it will do the trace inside the hoop. If you need to go back and recenter or move the frame in a different direction, you can go ahead and hit escape until you get out and redo the centering, and then go back and do the process again. These buttons right here, right next to your frame buttons, are your RPM buttons. This is to turn down your RPMs, this is to turn up your RPMs. You can turn it up or down before a run or during a run. So just make sure that you can have a better run with a speed of 650 up to 800. I believe on this machine it can go up to 850. The next and final step after everything that we've done in these steps is put the machine in embroidery confirm. That's this button right here. And basically you're telling the machine that you have done all your settings, you've gone through everything that you need to do, you're prepared and ready to run the machine. So we got to turn this square green, hit enter, and your design will pop up in a light gray, and this will turn green as well. During the run, this will start to fill in stitch by stitch in the colors that you've selected. You would start the machine by hitting the green button. If you do run into any kind of thread breaks or anything like that, your bobbin runs out, the machine will automatically stop, and it might move a few stitches ahead. So what you can do is press the red button to back it up. If you press it once, it'll go back 1 stitch. If you hold it down, it will return many stitches. And if you hold it down long enough, it will continuously return until you press the red button again to stop. Also, on the 2 head, on whichever head you run into an issue with the thread break or You run out of bobbin and the machine stops. When you back it up and you're ready to hit the green button to start again, just make sure you hit this little switch upwards, and that way the one head that had the issue will run and catch up to the other head. Then when it catches up to the thread break point, both heads will run at the same time. And that completes all the basics of the ButterFly 1502. Thank you for watching.